Don't be afraid. Hold on. You'll find your way.
Welcome to Growth Made Groovy, where we talk about everything from healing medicine music, working through life challenges,
and developing awareness and connections as we heal and grow along our journey.
Hello. Welcome to Growth Made Groovy. My name is Noel.
And I'm Caroline.
And you're at the podcast, Growth Made Groovy. Raise your vibration, and hopefully we help you to do that today as you're listening, watching, whichever way that you're getting the information from us.
Partaking in our conversation.
That's right. It is just a conversation that hopefully you feel involved with. Either today or tomorrow, whichever, you happen to choose, please feel free to send us any feedback or want to join the show, and we would love to have you as a part of the process. And today's episode is actually a podcast about a podcast. So
about a podcast about a podcast, yeah.
We're going in deep. The song we were discussing today is called Healing Our Way Home. Mm-hmm. And we wrote it as a theme song, and it's actually written in the vein of a theme song, like for an 80s show or a 90s show. And it's a fun little tune, but it's...
we wrote it, we wrote it on October 23rd, 2019. I have to throw in my little pieces.
You like the dates, that's right. Which is cool. It's almost 2 years, that's 1
crazy.
year and 10 months.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was, we wrote it, we were trying to do a podcast, but we were doing it in the vein of a TV show, calling it Indivinity TV, Healing Our Way Home. We did two episodes.
With music.
Exactly, with music,
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really love the little graphics that I was able to do for it. But we're going to do, because it was an intro and an outro, which were fun. But we'll do the song as it was. And it's a really cool song about we're all just heading home, and I had this vision at that moment about home as both within self and then an outer self, which starts with family, and then it goes out of that, neighborhood, then community, then country, then globally, and then universally, and then finding the home of the universe source, and then coming all the way back in within self. And so that's really what this song does. And so you might pick a few words on that as they come through. But I'd like to give you all Healing Away Home, unless, Caroline, you've got something else you want to throw in there.
No, I actually thought this was, I think that our Indivinity TV podcast was the beginning of this, because this came from all I think we had the desire to just connect with people and kind of come from our journeys and and just heal ourselves, heal with each other, and heal the world,
That's
with
right.
our healing medicine music.
Healing medicine music, and that time was 4:32.
Yes.
Eventually went to 4:44. But see ya in the smiles and the laughter, and we're having a good time here. So.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Healing Our Way Home.
In our soul we already hold love in endless flow, mind and body and ego. Forget what we all know, talk and thoughts make up our whole. Reason to control, beliefs that we won't ever grow. Beyond the truth unknown. Getting to the point where we know, healing our way home, 'cause now we know our life is whole. Healing our way home, finally found which way to go. Healing our way home. In our family we might have learned we need to be more. Left us feeling we've fallen short, so we walked out the door to the sounds of the town. ideology, globally getting to the point where we know, healing our way home, 'cause now we know our life is whole, healing our way home, finally found which way to go, healing our way home. Vastness of our sources home, to the love of the universe and soul, as one. We're getting to the point where we know, healing our way home, 'cause now we know our life is home, healing our way home, finally found which way to go, healing our way home, healing our way home, healing our way home, healing our way home. Nice. That was a good one, though.
That was a good one. So yeah, that was our theme song, and it's a cool little theme song. I like it, little ditty. But it really is a deep
I
song.
think it's beyond. Yeah, it's like
It's written like a little ditty, but it really is a huge. I mean, it's so deep. I mean, the first line: within our soul we already hold love in endless flow. The mind and body and ego forget what we all know. We're taught that thoughts make up our whole, reason to control, beliefs that we won't ever grow beyond the truth unknown. I mean, that's just right there. It's just very, next level, kind of ascending type, holding self into higher self, I mean, within our soul, we already hold love and endless flow. Right there, that's the whole thing. It's just going back in and accessing that. And then the second line is the mind and body and ego forget what we all know because of the separation. The mind and the body and ego are born of this, existence. So, and the soul is beyond this existence in connection with source. So we forget, and we're taught that the thoughts make up our whole, which is true, but it's also, we can then shift how we think of them. And then the reason to control, which comes out of fear. And beliefs that we won't ever grow beyond the truth unknown, because then we just feel like this is it. This is who we are. This is what we do. So I don't know, that first, right off the bat, I mean, we're singing this like sing-songy way, but it's a really deep, verse.
yeah. I'm gonna go deep. The intensive depth of these words in this first verse are like, look, we are not just a machine that was put on this earth to just take medication and have surgeries and, do the things that we're doing or whatever. There's a meaning behind our lives, and our soul knows that meaning. And and it knows that we have love inside of us, but most of us, for most of our lives, don't realize that. And until we take our journeys and start healing and seeing inside of us and finding that love, it's very difficult at best to connect with ourselves and other people. And so that's where the forgetting part comes in. When we come onto this planet, when we're born, we immediately forget the connection with our source. However, what I've also recognized is that children, until they've been indoctrinated by the time they're 6 or 7 years old, they have that connection with source. course. They know all of that stuff. And we as adults raising children have a tendency to forget that they know that. And they're the ones who can actually help us sometimes with some of the things that they say, you know. I mean, it's like, I remember at one point I wanted to do a book called Why Am I Four? Because like 4-year-olds, they ask questions that are way beyond our comprehension, that they already know these things. They're asking the questions, I'm beginning to think, just to see what we have to say, even though they know the answer, you know? So just recognizing that as children, until we're about 6 years old, having been, you know, taught all the things about how to be in society and all the rest of that stuff, have a knowing and are connected. And then, let's see, we're taught that thoughts make up our whole reason to control. Okay, so as we grow, the thoughts that we have, some of them have been placed in our heads, and some of the ones that we had as kids were kind of pushed out because of these thoughts. There's a controlling factor there, which leads to losing our truth. And the beliefs that we have, the patterns that we create, these thoughts are just like, they become habits. They become the truths that we think are true, and they're not. And the real truth is really unknown. It's a mystery. The truth of who we are inside of ourselves, of how we're connected with our creator, the universe, all of that stuff is so much bigger and mysterious than we can even ever imagine. And that, for me, is where, you know, like faith and trust about life comes in. Not that it's easy to do it. It's just, I'm just sharing what I'm learning and understanding, and actually doing the process is kind of, it has its moments where it's like, you know, so, yeah, so that was my deep intake on that one. Yeah.
It comes out swinging, you know, in the first verse, right? And so in the chorus, you talk about the knowing, and so we're getting to the point where we know, healing our way home, because now we know our life is whole, healing our way home. We finally found which way to go, healing our way home. And so that's the whole point, getting to that home, or into the heart and soul, because that is where we know the truth of who we are and what we're here doing, what we're here to, which is to just be. And again, it doesn't mean that the ego, the mind, and the body don't come back in, because they do. And to me, that's okay. You know, some people, they feel like they need to go beyond it no matter what. And I understand that. But part of going beyond it is actually embracing it as well. You know what I mean? So we you know, go into the soul as much as we possibly can, and live with the body and the mind and the ego. You know, be in this world, not of this world. You know, that's really the key to getting into love, and then getting out of fear and doubt.
And yeah, and like to know that we're like for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the duality or whatever goes on in the world. It's just, there's always extremes, because people have their belief over here, people have their belief over here. And when you, and the beliefs, again, are what screw us up, because they come from things that we learn as children that may or may not be true, you know? And so walking into life as a human, what is that saying? I'm a spirit in a human body.
We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah. So the humanity, being able to connect ourselves with our humanity and the depths of who we are, and know that there's a depth there, because it's not just everything that we see out in the world. It's not that surfacey. There's more to it. In fact, like, I don't know a lot about this, but I do know that the rabbis back in the day, many years ago, and they still do it, when they were reading the Old Testament, the Torah, all that stuff, they were talking about how there's 7 layers to the Bible, their Bible, our Bible, whatever you want to call it. And And layers means that, you've got the surface, but you've also got everything underneath of it. And you can't just believe everything you're seeing on the surface, because there's a depth, like the ocean. You can see, ooh, isn't this a pretty ocean? But what goes on underneath? There's such a depth to life that that helps us to get to the space of the healing and the journey and coming home to ourselves, to that depth. Okay.
No, I mean that's exactly right. And I mean, it's kind of like, there's content and then there's process. The content is what we're seeing, feeling, hearing, doing, what's here, and the process is what's underneath it. And how it's actually going to manifest its way through us.
Mm-hmm.
So
while you're working through getting through the garbage too,
because that's all part of the content. It leads back to the process. So then the second verse is this distinction that I was talking about before the song, to going from self to family to society to communities, locally and bigger and globally. So the second verse is, in our family, we might have learned that we need to be more. A lot of us have, we're not enough, keep getting more and more and more, being better, which starts off on a good intention, but then could kind of it does leave a child not feeling good enough. And then therein lies all the desires to escape and self-medicate. It left us feeling we'd fallen short. That's the desire, so we walked out the door. Now, this is where it goes, to the sounds of the town that surrounds us externally, that we used as our point of view in our community, society's ideologies, our ecology globally. So what happens is that, especially as a young adult, usually we're like, I'm out of here. And we start, trying to find who we are from the externals, which makes sense. And by the way, we could connect to the externals because it is who we are, especially things that resonate. But we're still running from what's inside of us, what's truly there, what's the actual truth. So we'll try to find our home in, we leave the family, we try to find it in our surroundings, our local communities, town, part of view. And then, now these days our community or point of views is right here on the telephone screen or the computer screen we're looking at, in our social media. It's the same thing. It's just another community. A society ideology is being, broadcasted through, and our ecology globally. And so, and then, then the final one we get into in the little bridge, which is fun. But yeah, that really, that's the meat of what happens to us when we do have this wound. It's kind of like the hero's journey,
Yeah, and bringing in what I had mentioned also too earlier, I think in the first paragraph or the first verse, the first verse is, the things that we learn as children or don't learn as children, and how we respond to that is what we come up with are not good enough. For me, it was, as a singer, I used to sing. I've told the story a million times, but that's not good enough for me. It's like, oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. In fact, recently, last year or earlier this year, I had who I thought was a friend of mine, and I was like, yeah, I could connect with this person, and it would be great if we could just sing and have fun. Oh, I don't think you're this. I don't think that this person would want you to sing with them because, or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So it hits a piece of us that's like not good enough. We feel not good enough. So we stop doing what we are born to do, and it's like, I may not be, Aretha Franklin, but I can sing, and I like singing and I have fun with it. But the things that we're taught and told, especially as children, and sometimes as adults, is in the situation where, well, you can't do that. And then we stop believing in ourselves. So it isn't really something that we're taught. Sometimes it could be something that was said. And then we're like, okay, well, nobody believes in me, and I can't handle this anymore. Gone. I'm leaving. I can't deal with this, whatever. By feeling like fallen short is the not good enough. It's the feeling small. And so leaving the family unit, but then there goes our first, excavation on ourselves is going outward, and outward is like, it could be, it could be addictions. It could be traveling. It could be looking and meeting people, trying to find a certain religion that your religion didn't work for you when you were growing up. It could be anything. Mine was Native American spirituality. It was sweat lodges. It was, all kinds of it. But I went to look at all different kinds of religions because I didn't know what was going on. So I'm out there, I'm looking at things. I tried my, smoking pot and doing all the rest of that stuff myself, and got involved in all that kind of thing. Thank God it wasn't in, to the depths that some people experience. I don't know if I'd still be sitting here today if I did, but but it's bringing in that external, and then that's what became our point of view in life. And so it's like everybody else's point of view became my point of view, and my family's point of view or my friend's point of view or whatever became what I thought. And it was not helping me because then I couldn't figure out who I was. And I knew underneath that there was like this tension where I knew something deeply. Somebody said something differently. And I'm like, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. And so then it became, between society and people's ideas, and especially with things that are going on now, back in both sides of everything that's going on now, logically, everything that's happening in the world, there's still an understanding inside of me that produces something different than what I'm seeing out there. And that to me feels like home, that I'm listening to myself. I have my moments. It doesn't always work, but I go inside now and I'm like, wait, I don't have to believe everything that I hear, but I can listen to it and kind of mix it in with the things that I know, and then come up with my own conclusions about things now. So I'm going inside and doing that instead of taking all that, the habitual stuff and all that stuff and just running with it, because it doesn't work for me anymore.
Yes.
So, So.
No, that's great. I mean, yeah. I mean, that basically your own experience, strength, and hope there of how, it developed in you, which it does for most of us, if not all, but definitely most. And then what we do to try to come away with something more through it. And the little bridge statement, lyric is, the vastness of our source is home to the love of the universe and soul as one. And so there it is. Whichever way, whichever brings us back into source, the wholeness within us, and to the universe around us, the vastness of the actual universe, and soul as one, connecting with source, which is source. Source is the combination of all of it. So when we connect in that within ourselves, because again, even if we were to, Star Trek or whatever, explore the universe, we still would only get to a small portion, no matter what kind of light speeds we have. It's so vast. So even then, we're still not getting the whole thing, whereas we can get the whole thing by going within. The universe and the soul is the oneness of source. And so, and that's the processes and the techniques and whatever we learn to get to that. And it doesn't even have to be complicated. Sometimes it's simply listening to a song. Sometimes it's connecting with a book, a play, a drama, a movie, a scene. Sometimes connecting with a vista or, a sunset or a sunrise or the ocean, as you say, or going deep into the ocean or whatever. But regardless of wherever it is in that realm, it's always connecting back to self, where we connect back into that, the love of the universe and soul as one. And that's really that's the truth of home. That's really where we're coming back to home, healing our way back home. And that was the original, healing our way back home, but just healing our way home, to get back to that.
I'd like to point something out by how you were doing that, how you were describing that. The powerfulness of when you talked, you kept doing this. You keep talking and you're pulling it into your heart. You're pulling it into your heart. And I think that's a key element where we don't get the answers from our minds. Our minds shouldn't even be running our lives. They need to go back and be back seat, be a passenger and shut the, what up. Because there's too much going on there. And then you have the conscious mind that's jibber jabber, jibber jabber, jibber jabber. And then you have the subconscious mind, multiply that by billions and billions of more thoughts and patterns and beliefs and then jibber jabber, jibber, which is running our lives. And there is no connection up here. You can't, because it's too much chaos. And somebody had told me years ago, a while ago, the shortest, what is it? The shortest distance, something. It's between the head and the heart. It's like,
oh, that's the longest journey
you'll take. It's
18 inches between
18,
the head.
Right. Okay. And it's so incredibly true, because I'm very analytical, that. And I am constantly processing. Even in my sleep, I probably process, which is sometimes why I need to be alone so I can decompress and listen to music and not process, and that's how I'm made. And being able to shut down and meditate and come into the heart and connect with source, connect with energy, connect with the universe. I mean, we don't even need, what's the name of the Star Trek's ship?
The Enterprise.
The Enterprise. We don't even need the Enterprise to get out to the universe, because it's inside of us. Our entire insides, our cells and our bodies and everything, our makeup, even in our brain, if you look at it and watch the synapses flashing and all that, that's all. And you look at a picture of the universe, the stuff that scientists have shown, it's all the same. It's all the same. And it's like, if we already have the universe inside of us, then it's kind of cool to go learn about the universe, but it's already here, and that's why the external happens to be a reflection of what we have inside of us, where if we're calm and peaceful and joyful and loving, our external will be the same. If we are anxious and depressed and angry and frustrated or whatever, look what we've got in the world. Everybody is anxious and depressed and frustrated or whatever, and that's what we have out in the world. So whatever's going on in here, and I'm going to point back here again, just like you did, what you see in the world. And being able to get from here to here and find that space, the universal space, the space of source, the space of soul, the space of each other. We're all one. We all bleed the same color. We are no different than each other, and we are different. And our differences keep us. It's just to learn to keep us together as one. That's kind of how I look at that, because I think it's important that we are, loving and peaceful and whatever. So,
oh, absolutely, and you're right. Yeah, it comes straight from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, staying in the heart is really a hard thing because of all the constructs and developments and what we learn to feel as this quote unquote truth, and we get caught in it and stuck in it, and then we start to defend and attack and take offense, offending, you know what I mean? And that's where we ended up.
Yeah, it's not even truth, it's a belief.
Right.
Someone's belief that's trying to make us believe what they believe.
Which just is a condition from whatever form you come from, meaning family or society, your community, your culture, whatever it is.
And whatever your perception of life is that you come from, what you just basically said, that is how we perceive. Like, if someone tells us something, we'll start to believe what they're saying, especially if we come from that a similar, like attracts like, magnetism, whatever.
And so even what we're espousing right here, whether it's, it is also another construct, another belief. And it's okay as long as it's resonating with what finds the truth. That is a universal truth of connecting with source and the wholeness of what that is to the being, human or otherwise. And so whatever way that does, it does. And so this is our way, the healing our way home. And so hopefully you got a little bit of that yourself as you're healing your way back into your heart, into your home.
And I want to say something real quick.
Sure.
I just want to share that whatever we say here is coming from our experience individually and together.
Yeah.
And we are not gurus. You are your own guru.
That's right.
And whatever resonates with you,
guides.
Whatever doesn't, let it go. Because
all we can do is guide, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And all we can do is be guided. We're either guiding or being guided or both, you know what I mean? And so really that's,
Yeah.
yeah. But the key is the resonation within you.
Yes.
And so hopefully that does, because again, hopefully you're healing your way into your home, your heart, now, this moment forward, and that you find peace and contentment and whatever joy and connection that you're seeking in communion with yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we have to offer. So much love to you all, and to a good life today and with you and your loved ones. And we will see you on the next one, and with another song to go through.
No. You want to know what it is?
All right, sure, yeah.
No surprise. Oh, Just Surrender.
Just Surrender.
Just Surrender. Yeah.
Another powerful one, yes.
I'd like to share really fast it's looking like on September 19th, which is a Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm going to be facilitating a grief group. It's our first meetings, just so I can get some ideas on how to be of service. And if you are interested in being a part of that, just PM, message me.
DM or whatever. You can comment, and then we can answer the comment and give you more information.
Whatever you'd like to do, just reach out and let me know if you'd be interested in the group. It's actually part of another Facebook group that I do called Glimmers of Hope. I changed the name, so I always get lost on it. Glimmers of Hope for Grief. Recreate your life. We're dealing with grief. Recreate your life. There it is.
Dealing with grief. That's
Dealing
right.
with grief. Yeah.
Part of the process.
Part of the process.
So
Just want to throw that out there,
Yes.
and you know that's available if you choose. And all I got.
that's it. All right. Well, again, much love to you and yours, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. Wonderful day.